Eng the calendar invite he meant to hide. The night hold for two found my inbox. At 9:03 p.m., my inbox proposed a meeting and forgot to pretend it was work. Hold for two, the subject line said, wearing my partner's initials at the end like a ribbon. The body offered a calendar square with restful edges. 10:30 p.m. Verite Hotel Terrace Bar. Attendees, Julian organizer, Armand accepted me optional. Location notes. Ask host for the corner couch. I like the lamp there. A pale button offered accept / maybe / decline, as if that were a moral instrument and not a software habit. Julian had left at 8 in the jacket that flatters him even when mirrors start evangelizing. Wrap toast, he said, 2 words that make celebration sound audited. Then notes with Armand. Don't wait. Armand does sound. He carries microphones like small animals with delicate tempers and listens like air with credentials. The cinnamon thing in the oven tried to make the kitchen behave. The lamplight climbed the wall in obedient squares and refused to narrate me. We keep a shared calendar because convenience and love use the same fonts. If you click the organizer's name, you can see which corner of his mind he forgot to lock. Julian often copies me into things without meaning to. He says I am his syntax. Tonight he CC'd me into a room with the wrong lamp. I put on the jacket that knows how to mind its own business and walked into air that had chosen to be exact. Verite sits over the river, pretending not to care about views. The host stand is carved into discretion. The woman behind it understands the exact radius of kindness. I showed the invite. She checked the list with the quick mercy of someone who treats privacy like math, then tilted her head toward the terrace where the city teaches people to behave in public. The lamp he likes turned a couch into a confession booth. The river wrote light onto the glass in long sentences. A waiter arranged 2 low glasses and pretended they were symmetrical. I sat across the room with water because I wanted my mouth to have honest work. 10 minutes passed like someone counting breath for a stranger. They arrived together. Julian with his jacket opened the way doors hoped to be. Armand with a posture learned from years of listening to other people's versions of themselves. Julian saw me first, practiced not stumbling, and then practiced not performing. Armand's glance took in the lamp, the couch, me, the waiter, the shape of the night's perimeter. He didn't look sorry. He looked like a noun choosing not to be a verb. Luca, Julian said, my name with the softness of a receipt. Your calendar thinks I'm optional, I said, because humor is the leash I use to keep panic from bolting. I lifted the phone. Hold for 2. The river helped by minding its own business. Armand made a decision I intend to remember kindly. I'll give you to the view, he said, voice neat, consonants ironed. The lamp is yours. He palmed the back of the couch with a professional's care, told the waiter thank you with the accuracy of a man who respects nouns, and left through the side door where staff pretend they're alone. Not here, Julian said, eyes flicking to the camera pearl on the ceiling like a moon with HR. He tipped his head toward the service stair, the honest side of the building, concrete and breath. There's air. We stood on a landing with a view of a wall. It is the best kind of privacy in a city that overachieves at reflection. The hum of the building did its hymn. The lamp's amber could not reach us here. We were left with fluorescent honesty. I lied when I left, he said. He doesn't waste adjectives when he intends to be correct. Rap happened. People tried their best grammar on goodbye. I wanted 30 minutes where being interesting didn't need to pass inspection. Armand listens like silence is a profession. I mistook that for permission. Are you sleeping with him? The question is a cliff. There isn't a scenic route. You count to 1 and make your mouth earn its keep. Not yet, he said, clean, immediate. Then lower, with the honesty that knows exactly which muscle wants to bruise. I brought my mouth. Distance has a half-life after 9. I don't like radioactivity. I lifted 2 fingers to the soft inside of his wrist where men keep their apologies and felt his pulse write my name there without permission. His eyes closed like doors designed to expect hands. Under my palm at the small of his back, where his body keeps its best arguments, heat had already paid. My hand remembered the root. You like wanting that proves something kindness can't, I said. I didn't make it cruel. Cruelty is lazy precision. You treat intimacy like a sport and honesty like off-season training. You like to coach, he said, and almost smiled like a man who has learned not to beg the night for metaphors, which is unfair and also why we still have furniture. What do you want? I asked. Right now, not the apology you drafted for daylight. He stepped into the inch that becomes a lie if you respect it. Heat moved through cotton like a fact uninterested in votes. He spoke close enough that punctuation found my lower lip. I want to go home, he said. I want you to want me where our towels remember us and desire doesn't send invites. A waiter passed above us with a tray practicing balance. We didn't kiss on the stair because cameras are landlords and I enjoy not paying them. I put my thumb at the hinge of his jaw, the place truth keeps its spare key, and chose gravity over choreography. We walked out through the kitchen where steam does more honest work than we did this week. On the sidewalk, the river decided against commentary. We took the long way because short routes lie when you don't deserve them. At home, the cinnamon had kept faith beyond the call of sugar. We ate it at the counter with our fingers because forks would have lied. He leaned against the drawer that sticks, the posture that means he is willing to be moved and wants me to be precise about where. I slid my palm under his shirt and found heat like an address that still prints both our names on the mail. He tipped into me, gratitude making him heavy and exact. We were careful in bed, not the kind of careful that kills heat, the kind that knows where to fold it so the room won't have to testify. He knows where to set his hand on my ribs so the rest of me turns without issuing a press release. I know where his shoulder hides when it runs out of brave, and how to coax it into telling the truth with weight and breath, and a mouth that has stopped trying to rescue him and still wants him. I won't draw you a choreography. I'll tell you the room remembered to breathe, and morning forgave us because it had other work. We slept like people who aren't finished. Light shouldered the blinds with the authority of a suggestion. He made coffee the way he does when he wants me to listen. The calendar invite sat between us on the table like a witness who doesn't understand jurisdiction. Optional glowed with the impunity of software. He started with small truths because small truths keep larger ones upright. I like the way Armin makes quiet feel expensive, he said. I liked a couch that doesn't know our history. I like thinking that desire could be rented by the hour. He pressed his thumb to decline on his screen, the gesture as untheatrical as any that matter. He didn't let me say the sentence in the wrong room. He told me my mouth belongs at home. Do you want to be here? I asked, making sure the verb wore the present. Yes, he said. To be boring with you on purpose. To put heat where our towels remember it. To stop auditioning for short pieces and start rehearsing the long thing badly until we get good. We made boring plans because boring is how you keep lives from becoming memorabilia. We killed calendar sharing for anything that isn't a train or a medical appointment. We renamed the optional checkbox rude. We made a rule in ink on the back of a grocery receipt and stuck it to the fridge. If one of us wants 30 minutes of attention that isn't from the other, call it a craving, not a crisis. Walk it by the river. Spend it on pastry mean enough to bully your mouth into silence. It isn't romantic. It's maintenance. It's oil for the hinge that keeps the door from learning to shout. 2 afternoons later, I saw Armand outside a studio that smells like ambition and lemon, the city's favorite lie. He gave me the nod men use when they've chosen to be furniture on purpose. He didn't apologize and I didn't deputize. We stood under a poster that promised to rescue strangers in 98 minutes. "I'm not here for absolution," he said, so simply it qualified as taste. He kissed me once. I told him he was saying the sentence in the wrong room. I like my sleep and his mornings. "You could have said nothing," I said. "You could have believed worse," he answered. "This is cheaper." He looked at the river like it was an audio track he might someday get to master. "You don't need my testimony, but if it steadies you, nothing worth deleting happened." "It steadies," I said. "It did not a miracle but a floor." We did not become friends. We became men with a shared interest in someone else's better decision. There are worse treaties. A week later at 9:03 again, as if ours petitioned for themes, the calendar pinged with a recycled sin. "Hold for two." The invite was from a restaurant we both dislike. Across the room, Julian was already laughing the right way. No triumph, just relief. He deleted it, came over, set his palm where my back keeps its heat, and held it there like punctuation that knows its job. On certain nights when the city forgets to be clever, his mouth finds mine with the urgency that belongs to thunderstorms and the patience that belongs to laundry. We stay just on the lawful side of the line because good heat doesn't need choreography to be true. When it's done with us, when we are done with it, he rests his hand at the small of my back like a bookmark that has always known the right page. Sometimes the calendar still sends smug summaries. "You have no events today." I don't trust it. I trust the square of light at 4 when it climbs our wall like an idea that finally put on shoes. I trust the bowl that catches our phones like obedient coins. I trust that if software ever invites me to an evening I didn't ask for, we'll do what we did the night invitations confused themselves. Find air, choose kissing over theater, walk home with my palm resting on the part of him that knows the address, and keep teaching this door, gentle, stubborn, local, to open from the inside. 2 small footnotes, because lives adore encores. First, I changed his contact from Julian to Julian. Home. Hyphens don't do miracles. They perform administrative grace. When my hand forgets itself at 3:17, the dash persuades it to put the phone down and reach for a person. Second, I kept the original invite, the one that called me optional for a couch with a lamp I know. Not to punish us, to remember the hinge where the evening swung. A tidy rectangle proving that a calendar can mistake itself for a conscience, and that 2 men, if they're stubborn, can learn to be on time for the only place that keeps their names in the right order.